it's Whispering Storyteller here. Are you okay? Something completely different today. Something which involves this and this. When I was a kid, I used to play something which was called Fighting Fantasy Gamebooks. And these books were great. They were revolutionary. And just to give an explanation, it's part story, part game. It's a book with a difference, one in which we will become the hero. A pen is all you need to make your journey. We will decide which route to take, which creatures to fight, and which dangers to risk. How does that sound? And if I just give you a little look, every time something happens, we get a choice if we want to turn left or turn right or whatever. And you get to turn to the page, which will basically be the choice that you make. And at any time, our journey could end. We could die. But God forbid, we don't want that to happen, do we? This particular one is called the House of Hell. And basically we have to try and stop being frightened to death. So there is our sheet, which we have skill, stamina and luck, which is all determined by a dice throw, believe it or not. And we have fear points, and all of our equipment that we have collected on our way. So before we start, we have to determine what we've got. So determine our skill, stamina and luck. We need to roll a dice and add 6. So our skill is 10. Our stamina is roll 2 dice and add 12. Okay, that is. And for luck, we roll 1 dice and add 6. 9. Okay. Now we have to determine our fear now. We have to make sure that our fear doesn't drop to 0. So in this book, which is called The House of Hell, we need to determine how much we've got. So we roll 1 dice, okay, and add 6. So our fear, ladies and gentlemen, is 11. Now during the adventure we will come across situations where we will add 1 fear point or subtract fear points. So we must not reach 0. Okay, I kind of give you the condensed version, but in reality I've got everything here, so I can do the workings out. And you can just relax and maybe listen. I'll do the maths and the dice throws. So when you're ready, I will begin our adventure. Okay? So make sure you're comfortable before we start. Okay. I'm going to come closer and whisper so you can hear this better. This is the background. The rain spatters the windscreen Sorry, I'll start that again. The rain spatters the windscreen relentlessly. You can see nothing more than a watery gloom as you strain forwards over a steering wheel to see the road ahead. Although the wipers flap valiantly, are fighting a losing battle, and the rain drives harder and harder. Your foot eases off the accelerator. The headlights struggle to light up the road. Damn, you cursed the white-haired old man who sent you on this bumpy track. He probably meant the second turning on the left, or even a right turning. The old fool. Perhaps this is his idea of a joke. After all, didn't you notice a mischievous glint in his eye? Something vaguely sinister. But what sort of nonsense is this? So you've taken the wrong turn and got caught in a downpour in the night. The rain will ease off soon, and it can't possibly keep this deluge for so long, but then you'll be able to watch out. You spin the wheel frantically to the left to avoid the figure who from nowhere shows up in the headlights. The car bumps and jolts as it bounces over the rocky roadside and thumps into a ditch. You collect your thoughts. You are unhurt, but shaken. You remember what has happened. The body. You must have hit the figure which appeared. There is no way you could have avoided him. You spring out of the car, praying that he is still alive. Your clothes soak up the rain as you hobble back to the road. In the darkness, it is difficult to see anything. But there is no sign of a body. You consider the situation. Are you certain that it was someone and not a trick of the light? Yes, you remember the arms held up in fright as the car collided, that look of anguish on his face. His face. There was something familiar about that face. A man that you recognized. An old man with white hair. Your heart leaps. No! Impossible. With a shiver of fear, you race back to the car, jump inside and force the key into the ignition and twist it violently. The starter coughs, splutters, and dies. You hit the key again, but this time a single shudder is all the engine can manage. You grasp the wheel with your hands and shake it desperately, as if trying to force some life into the car. But the battery is dead. Your car is certainly not budging from that ditch tonight. Your situation is hopeless, but now the plight of your car is paramount. Where can you get help? You passed the garage at Mingleford, but that was 20 miles away. As if in answer, a light appears in the distance. Somebody has switched on a bedroom light. What a stroke of luck. It was at least 15 miles back that you passed the old house you seem to, and as you happened to have broken down just a short distance from someone's home. You button up your coat and open the door. From outside the car you can see the building more clearly. Just ahead, on the left, a drive winds up to the large house. It's a good 5 minutes walk away, and by the time you reach it, you'll be drenched. But how else can you call the garage? You can't afford to miss tomorrow's appointment. No, you must go. Anyway, you'll probably be able to dry out inside of the phone in the garage. You slam the door, turn up your collar, and set off for the house. A flash of lightning lights up clearly for you, but in your preoccupation with the rain, the warning from above is wasted on you. The house is old, very old, and in a shocking state of repair. The light in the window is flickering, most likely an oil lamp, certainly not electric. And you don't notice a fact that might have turned you back anyway. There is no telephone line going to this house. As you climb the steps at the front door, little do you realize what fate is in store for you. Tonight is going to be a night to remember. soaked through. Your feet are particularly wet. Judging by the number of puddles you've stepped into in the dark, the drive needs a small fortune spent on repairs, but under the porch, you are out of the storm. You brush the rain from your clothes before turning to the front door. The rain is still pelting down, but an eerie silence hangs in the air. No lights are on downstairs. You step back off the porch to check the upstairs window which has attracted your attention earlier. Nothing. No lights. The whole place seems to be deserted. But then you remember the time. 5 minutes to midnight. Everyone in the house has probably gone to bed. An owl hoots in the distance, and a shiver runs down your spine. The situation is a little scary. Here you are in the middle of nowhere, at some strange run-down old house, about to wake up whoever lives inside at midnight. They certainly won't be too pleased, but you have no choice if you are to make your appointment tomorrow. You must reach a telephone to call for help. You step up to the front door. From the left-hand side of the house, a dull glow catches your attention. A light has been turned on. You breathe a sigh of relief. At least someone is awake. You consider your options. There is an elaborate knocker on the middle of the door. A bell bulb hanging down to the right. Will you rap on the door with the knocker? Pull the cord or creep around the house to investigate the light? Okay, I'm gonna have to make the decision here, guys. I think I will creep around the back of the house, because this certainly doesn't look like a good idea to me. We've got to turn to 2, 8, and 9. Okay. You walk from the porch around the side of the house. A light is indeed on, and it's shining through the window at the back of the building. Do you wish to go round to see if you can see anything at this window? Or will you creep along to another window along the side wall to see whether you can enter the house without anyone knowing? Let's have a look at the window in front of us, 3, 4, 5. The lit window is next to a back door which leads to a kitchen. Voices are coming from inside the kitchen, but you cannot see anyone. Whoever is in there must be standing by the back wall, out of sight. You strain to hear what is said. There appear to be 2 people in the kitchen, and they are talking excitedly. Master is getting ready. I'm starting to get excited. I've never been to one before. Do you really think that we may be visited? Another man's voice, rather more controlled, replies, You know, I'm having doubts about this whole affair. She is so young and came here in all innocence. I just don't know. The 2 men walk around the kitchen, and now you can see them more clearly. They're both dressed in white gowns. One is a good deal younger than the other. Shall we knock on the door to see whether they will let us in? Or shall we wait and listen a little longer? I think we should listen a little longer. By the way, that's the kitchen. Let's listen a little longer and see what's said. The younger man turns to the older one and angrily says, The master's teachings are not for the faint-hearted. You know of his power and his promises to us all. Perhaps you are no longer strong enough to stay with us. The old man turns away toward the window. He is hiding a look on his face, which is one of nervousness and fear. He realizes that he has said the wrong thing. No, he stammers. I'll be all right. Just a momentary weakness. Come, let us get on with the preparations. Together the two men leave the kitchen, blowing out the candles on the way. You wonder what they are talking about, and now you must choose your next move. Shall you try the kitchen door to see whether you can sneak inside, or go round and knock on the front door? I feel a little dangerous. I'm going to knock on the front door, and I'm going to make the decision for you. 3, 5, 7. A few moments later, the door handle turns slowly, and a man dressed in dog suit and tails answers. His face is solemn. Yes, he says indignantly, his smile nervously. I explain the situation. The car's broken down. You need to reach a telephone and you are soaked to the skin. The man's face remains expressionless. Come in, he orders. The master is expecting you. Follow me. He leads you into a reception hall and tells you to sit down while he informs his master of your arrival. Number 8. What's going to happen next, I wonder? You sit down in a solid carved chair and look around. The reception hall is certainly not what you would have expected from the outside. It is very elegantly decorated, with rich tapestries and fine oak panels. A number of portraits line the walls. A sturdy 16th century table is set against one wall. Will you wait for your host to arrive, study the paintings, or hunt for a telephone? We've already established that there is no telephone, is there? Let's have a look at the paintings. 304. Three portraits look particularly interesting. Will you look at a beautiful young woman wearing a tiara, a middle-aged portly gentleman wearing half-moon glasses, or an elderly woman with grey hair and a cold expression? Let's look at the beautiful young woman wearing a tiara. 151. A plaque beneath the painting reads, Lady Margaret of Danvers, 1802 to 1834. You stand and admire her beauty and wonder why she died so young. As you are staring at her face, you suddenly blink and look again. Didn't you just see her lips moving? Surely not. A whisper reaches your ears, but you cannot make out its message. You lean forwards and put your ear to the lips. A soft woman's voice is speaking to you. Stranger, beware of this place, for it is cursed. Many have succumbed to its power, myself included. The evil Lord Kelnor will already be plotting your death. Drink not his white wine, or if you can, be gone. Escape while you may. You step back aghast. What sort of place is this? A creepy run-down old building filled with priceless antiques and paintings which talk. A cold prickle runs down your neck and you must add 1 fear point. We start from 0. So we've now got 1 fear point. We've got 10 more to go before we're scared to death. Shall we run out the door, or should we wait and see what happens? Well, I think we're on this adventure now, guys. I think we should see what happens. Although in real life, I think I would never have gone anywhere near this place. Here we go. Footsteps. Someone is coming. The tall man you met earlier walks in, opening the front door for another man dressed in a purple smoking jacket. May I present Lord Kelnor, the Earl of Drummer? The butler announces. The Earl holds out his hand and you shake it. His grip is strong and his eyes are piercing. His lips widen to a soft smile and you begin to tell him of your predicament, but he holds up his hand. Please, I can see that you've been caught in this filthy storm. Let us sit by the fire and we will see whether we can help. Franklins, tell the cook to prepare some food for our visitor. You protest, but you don't wish to be any trouble. But your host ignores you and leads you to a drawing room where a fire is burning. You take off your coat and sit down. The heat of the fire makes you feel very comfortable once more. Franklin's returns with 2 glasses of brandy. Will you relax, drink the brandy, and ask if you can use the telephone? Or will you wait and see what he asks you? Let's ask if we can use the telephone. I know there isn't one, but I'm just interested to see what he actually says. What lies he tells us. The fire and the brandy warm you, and you begin to feel more relaxed. You may deduct 1 fair point. So that 1 we had is now back to 0. You explain to the Earl what happened on the road, and that you wish to use his telephone to call the local garage. I'm afraid our telephone line came down in the storm tonight, he replies. We will have it repaired tomorrow morning. In any case, the garage would not come out at this hour, but do not worry. You are perfectly welcome to spend the night here. I'm glad of your company. Tomorrow Franklin's will take you to town and, here's Franklin's now. The butler comes back in to announce that a meal is ready. You both rise and go to the dining room. Turn to page 309. The dining room looks magnificent. A long table stretches between 2 fine chairs and is laid with gleaming silver cutlery. A rich red wallpaper covers the walls and the room is lit by a sparkling chandelier, bristling with candles which hangs from the ceiling. You take your seat and the butler moves behind you to offer you wine. Will you take the white or the red? Well, we've already been warned not to drink the white, so I think we will listen to that advice and go for the red, which in real life I would have went for anyway. 395. The wine is impeccable, a fine vintage. Soup follows, but you can choose either lamb, duck for your main course, or you can tell the host that you've already eaten and you are not hungry. What do you think? Let's see if we eat lamb or duck. I don't think we should eat anything. I don't trust this man. I'm going to tell him that we've already eaten. In real life, I'm quite hungry right now, but not in a house like this. The Earl is outraged. How could you allow him to go to all the trouble of preparing a meal and then refuse to eat it? Will you apologize and take the duck, the lamb, or will you apologize for the inconvenience but still refuse to eat? I think we should eat something. I've got a feeling that one of them is a bad, something nasty, and one is something decent. Let's take the duck, 115, and if we die, I'm so sorry. Your mouth waters as the roast duck is laid before you. The Earl is having the same, and you both chat as you eat. He wants to know how you came to be driving along this road in the middle of the night, and you tell him about the old man's directions. You ask him about himself and his family. The Earl of Drummer is the last surviving member of his family. His estate stretches for miles around the house. At one time the estate was prosperous, with many tenant farmers cultivating his land and providing a healthy income for his family. But things started to change. His sister died at the age of 32 under mysterious circumstances. She was found dead in a clearing in the woods with strange marks on her neck. News travelled fast, and the ignorant peasants soon started muttering about witchcraft and black magic. In their eyes, the house was cursed. Pure superstitious nonsense, of course, but gradually the farmers moved to new pastures, avoiding the estate. By now you've finished your meal, and Franklin's returns to offer you fruit, cheese, coffee and brandy. Will you take the fruit, coffee and brandy, the cheese, coffee and brandy, or just cheese and coffee? Let's take the cheese, coffee and brandy. My decision. 74. You finish off your meal. The Earl rises to his feet and says, "Our conversation has been most enjoyable, but now you must be very tired. Franklin's will show you up to your room. Let us retire." You stand up. You're right. You are tired. It's well past midnight. You stumble and reach out to steady yourself against the table. Phew, you didn't realize you were that tired. Or have you had a little too much to drink? Your head is spinning, and the voice of your host becomes part of the background noise, which is getting louder and louder in your ears. Eventually you collapse to the ground and lose consciousness. Turn to 173. I was expecting that. I think we'll leave it after this one. And maybe I can leave the next decision up to you. You open your eyes. Your head is spinning, and it is some time before you become fully aware of the fact that your hands and feet are bound. The room which you were in is empty, but you work out a plan. You will hop over to the window and break the glass, and use it to cut yourself free. Pulling yourself to your feet is awkward, but you manage it, and with a mixture of hope and shuffles you appear at the window. Outside, the wind is blowing the rain against the window panes. Will you go ahead and smash the window with your hands? Something of a risky business. Or will you test your luck? If you want to test your luck, turn to 136. If you do not wish to test your luck, turn to 360. Well, I might as well do this one now. I'm not sure how we test our luck, but it can't be hard. Let's have a look for testing our luck. Roll 2 dice. If the number rolled is equal or less than your current luck score, you have been lucky. Okay. 5. We have, if it's high, yes, we've been lucky. We've been lucky, yeah. 136. Were you lucky or unlucky? If you are lucky, you have managed to escape the splintering glass without harm. If you are unlucky, the glass cuts your wrist, lose 2 stamina points. Now we were lucky, so we can then turn to 317 and see what happens next. 317. This is where I'm going to finish today. You cut yourself free and massage your wrists to get the circulation moving again. Then you walk over to the door to try it. It is not locked. You try the handle, it opens a little, and look inside. The room is on a first-floor landing. You look over the banisters and see the entrance hall below. To your left there are 2 doors in the corner of the landing, which runs along to the right. Do you want to go that way? Turn to 287. Or do you want to look at your right and go to the left? So would you like to go left or right after leaving the doorway? I'll leave that up to you to decide. It's not much of a decision. I'm tempted to do another one actually, because it's not a nail-biting finish, is it? Let's see if I can find a more nail-biting finish. Let me take the next one and go to 287. You walk up to the two doors on the corner of the balcony. The one in your left is named the Balthus, and the one on your right has no name. Do you want to enter the Balthus room, or would you rather go through the other door? You can decide. Tune in for the next episode of The House of Hell.